Hello, Oregon Trio. It is Matt Bezic once again. I'm here to give a July update this month. I'm doing this structure a little different than normal. I don't have my normal list of things I'm combing over of all the events and scholarship and due dates and those sorts of items that we're covering right now. What I want to instead focus on is more a few big picture items. So in the world of National Trio, the SSS slate was released. So we are still waiting to get the full list for those who have the bank tiers, but for the most part, from what we can tell, basically all of our programs are refunded. I said basically again because we're waiting for the full list for those programs with bank tiers. What we don't have is the funding band, so those programs that were towards the back end of who's funded and the group where they scored pretty high, but not everyone's going to be funded. So we don't know about new programs yet. It seems like the score was high enough for that threshold that only current grants were funded in this initial slate. That doesn't mean we can't see some expansion of new SSS programs, but we have to wait until we actually see where that funding band is. They never really released that as a list. You just hear about it from individual institutions who applied, who are notified that they're in that funding band territory. So, and as far as everybody else and our GANs going into next year, that is now the next phase of our advocacy efforts that we're doing with Congress and with the Department of Education. So really pushing to get those GANs out early. There's no reason to think your programs shouldn't exist, right? Everybody has funded grants going into next academic year. SSS programs have received the competition results, so you're funded for 5 more years. Now, obviously, we know with this administration, weird stuff has happened, but we do expect the GANs to come out. Going back to some of the stuff COE's been talking about, there may still be cancellations, right? That was what we saw with the June upper bounds, that 3 of those grants were canceled. So that still lies out there as a possibility. But given all of the efforts that have been put in around TRIO, from the Trump administration, from Secretary McMahon, in the pushback that's been received, I'm feeling as confident as you can that we're still going to have programs, and there may be small areas of pushback, but in general we are winning. So we're going to continue to advocate, get the GANs out, not see cancellations, move forward the timeline for applying for EOCs and talent searches. This wheel is just it's too big, hopefully, for this administration to stop. It's going to keep moving, and we're going to persevere through all this. So I appreciate all your efforts and advocacy, and congratulations to all of those SSS programs that received their funding notifications for the next 5 years. Huge congrats to you. Next, I want to give an update as it relates to the state funding. So 4 years ago, the state of Oregon allocated funds that was directed towards the Oregon Trio Association. So for the last 4 years, there's been $500,000 per year that has come from the state into Oregon Trio Association that has allowed us to hire staff and do our scholarship programs and offer this huge plethora of services. As a result of some of the federal funding cuts, Oregon had $500 million less going out over this next budget than they had in previous years. What that means is that most of our higher ed and secondary institutions saw budget impacts. The colleges themselves, community colleges, our K through 12 system, saw less investment than in typical years. And basically every single concept, project, investment opportunity that was not those core institutions was stripped away. They cut literally everything, which includes our money. We no longer have state funding, at least for the next 2 years. It's unlikely during the short session, like a year from now, that they would make that kind of budget allocation unless something dramatically changed within federal government's funding structure and reinvesting in states again. However, this means that we do not have any more state funding. So it doesn't mean the end of Oregon Trio Association or staffing as we know it. We've done a really good job solidifying us as relatively sustainable, but there are going to need to be changes because our budget was just cut by $500,000 a year, and that's most of our revenue. So over the rest of July and going into August, that's when we have our summer board retreats, where your representatives who serve on the OTA board meet with myself, and we plan out the whole next year of activities and what our budget looks like, and they approve that. So we are going to go into that and have some hard conversations about how we are going to be structured and function moving forward, and what kind of programs and services are still going to be offered through OTA. There's going to be changes, but what I can assure you is we've done a good enough job building a reserve of funds. It shouldn't have to disappear overnight. I think there is a sustainable way to still run this organization. We just don't necessarily have the deep checkbooks of the state funding to do some of our favorite pet projects. So we will keep you posted, and I will provide incredibly more detailed breakdowns once we come to some conclusion with myself and the board. All right, with that, I'm just leaving it to those two things. We kind of have this chaotic higher ed system and environment that we're living in right now. So there are eyes on the federal government and all the funding that directs what you all do in your day-to-day, and then there are a lot of the funding mechanisms that fund what we do as a nonprofit that supports all of you, and everything is just getting having wrenches being chucked at it constantly. So I'm just going to embrace my best dodgeball instincts, that if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, and we're just going to stay in the game and survive and find a way to thrive moving forward, because I still think that the work we do is, of the highest quality and some of the most important things that we can do for our underrepresented and underserved communities. So keep doing what you're doing, keep showing up for your students, and we're going to find a way through this together. So with that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer, and you'll be hearing from me soon. Take care.